Okay, people, so Dark Game. This is the new film from Howard J. Ford. It was written by Gary Grant and Niall Johnson. The film is produced by Tom George, executive produced by Pollyanna Noily Pushkareva, Joseph Crepaldi, and Ed Westwick. It is co-produced by Natalia Teskaova, with foreign production from Dmitry Naskachenko and Alexander Zapolaski. Imran Ahmed took care of the music. Nick Fielden was on editing. Art direction is Luis San Martin. Pierre Pispa was on costume design. Hair, makeup, special makeup, we got Max van de Banks, Angelina Timoshkanokova, Charlotte Powles, and Bridget Gardner. Our cast. Well, Ben is played by Ben Jacobs is played by Ed Westwick. His wife Lisa is played by Rose Reynolds. His colleague in the police force, Kathy Burnett, is played by Lola Wayne. We've got Captain Larson, played by Anthony Ofobu. Who else is there? Oh, these things are never done very well. Agent Jackson, played by Mark Danbury. There is Sam Clark, played by Joe Urquhart. We've got Larch, played by Rick Yale. Esparza, played by Mitzili Rose. Sasha Morgan, played by Andrew McGillan. Parker Green, played by Rory Alexander. Katia Volkova, played by Natalia Teskova. Who else do we have? Amy, played by Pollyanna Noily Pushkareva. Alex Chambers, played by Joseph Tweedle. Ray Callahan, played by Eamon Fleming. Wait, no. Eamon Fleming is playing Ray Callahan. Oh, my days. Chloe Demain is played by Natasha Shkutka. Faye, played by Sophie Rankin. We can't forget the presenter, right? Played by Andrew P. Stevens. The gist is this: a determined detective is in a race against time to stop a twisted game show on the dark web where captives are forced to compete for their lives. Okay? So, supposedly, right, producer Tom George, came up with the story. Right? Came up with the story, showed it to Howard J. Ford, right? And Ford thought it was a cool thriller with a chance that has the potential to give it a bit of heart, and it was a kind of noirish. He thought he could make something totally different to the other films he's done. And not really, right? Not really. Because I watched one of his other films, The Ledge, and like this, there's not a load of nuance in it, right? There's just a load of things that make no sense, right? With this film, it's set in Portland, filmed in Bristol. I mean, that's fine. Like, we do that all the time, right? But they've taken archetypes, you know, and that's basically their characters. They haven't added anything to them. Like, we open up, right? The film opens up with a report on Ben Jacobs and Kathy Burnett. Right? They've done it again. They've solved another case. Right? And they've got leads on this case. And they stayed them both, which doesn't usually happen. But then the focus of the film is, you know what I mean? It's not on both of them. Right? It's only on Ben. Like, Kathy is a very small part of the film. You can forget she's even a part of it, you know? So it's weird. Right? We have all of these things, like when the FBI get involved, we do that thing that, you know what I mean? Always say, you can't give it to them. Oh, the FBI, you know what I mean? It's just like, roll your eyes. It's boring, right? We've got this case of people being tortured and killed. Help is being offered. And then they're like, we don't want their help. And you're just like, but earlier in the film, it's just like, we need to catch these people straight away. But then you're trying to turn down help. Right? It's the dark web. Now, we know how difficult it is to find people on the dark web. Right? The whole Silk Road thing took years. Years. You know? But they're like, we need to find them right before the end of the day. And then when they supposedly find them, no one's questioning it. Right? Because it's still super quick. Super quick. So it's so unrealistic from jump. Right? We've got them, like, you know, the presenter and his crew, like, filming the kidnappings and everything like that. But the camera angles are very weird. Because you're like, okay, so if we're supposedly seeing this from their handheld cameras, then why are we so far behind? You know what I mean? It's just like, then shoot it from only that perspective. Don't give us other perspectives, because where the fuck are these shots coming from? You know? There's just these kind of mistakes, right? We're meant to be watching via camera, like hidden cameras on ceilings, all of this, but then we get angles that would not be that. So there's a lot of that, right? So much mood music. It's hurtful. So much, like, just this cloying music, and you're just like, why? We do not need this. We don't, right? It's just, you know, obviously we have Ben coming from a tortured background, which, look, that happens for sure. But to be in his position and still fly off the handle at any mention of his past is unrealistic, right? You couldn't have him working on most cases if they're going to affect him in this way, right? And you're telling me this is the first time a reporter has mentioned something, you know? So it's all just, it's all kind of bonkers. Kind of bonkers. Like the ending. Well, even before we get to the ending, right, there seems to be no checking up on, well, firstly, just the first lot of evidence, right? The first indications of, okay, who was the last person to see this person? Right. Well, let's talk to that person. Let's try and get some info because this is kind of weird, right? And then when you get a second hit of info, you're like, we are just believing this because I kind of feel there would be other ways of getting this info to people. So why did it take this long? You know, it's just all of these things that are just like, huh? What's happening? You know, it's nothing fresh. And that is fine, right? Because when you think of films like Seven, because this is a thing, right? With Howard J. Ford talking about, right, this being a cool thriller, kind of noirish, all of that. That's Seven, right? But we had seen that idea before. It wasn't a new idea that Fincher had, but his execution, like the way that film was constructed, the acting, everything was top notch. And that's the difference, right? If you're using great building blocks, your end product's going to be golden. But man, if you're trying to build with paper mache on a wet foundation, you're gonna get something like DarkGame, because this was, you know, it just feels lazy. The dialogue is horrendous. We do not buy any sort of relationship in the film, right? We don't buy Ben and Lisa. We don't buy Ben and Kathy. We just don't buy these relationships, these friendships, any of that, right? The work situation, even using a past criminal to try and help in the case. Like, I don't know what that performance was, but it was just bizarre. Just bizarre. And the ending, right? They try and throw this little, oh, did you see that coming? And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious. It was just weird, the fact that police dropped the ball on it. Right? There's nothing shocking, nothing surprising, and not really anything done well. DarkGame is like, it's one of those films that back in the day would have been straight to DVD, straight to video, and would be playing at like 3 a.m. on Channel 4 or something. You know what I mean? That's what that's what this is. It's not high quality TV, unfortunately. But if you like a B movie type thriller, if you liked Howard's last film, The Ledge, which is also on Netflix, then people, I think you're going to dig DarkGame.